Okay, we'll quickly go through the other functions like cloud export and copy file. In addition to cloud put or other function which we have discussed, we have the cloud export. I briefly mentioned earlier that you can use cloud export to export your expression in a given format. For example, here, uh, let's say you want to deploy your expression, which is this expression plot in a GIF format. So it will do that. Let's see. So you can see that a nice GIF it has created using cloud export. This is the second parameter, which is basically tells you what format you want to export it. And then you can use cloud import basically to import the stuff which you have exported. So it will show you all the data for the GIF. But yeah, let's see. So we also have a copy file function, which basically copies your local files to cloud, um, and and vice versa basically. So here we have a temporary local file. Let's see one example of it. You have a file which is basically stored in your local system, and you want to copy it to the cloud at a given path. For example, you want to copy it in temps.csv. You can use copy file and provide the path from the local system, and then the second parameter will be your cloud object. So you can copy your temporary file to a given cloud object. So it will be your uh, it will be it will be copied as a CSV and then stored as a file there in your cloud. Similarly, you can download from the cloud object from your cloud by reversing the source and destination. Um, and then towards the end, we have a couple of other functions where you can use file exists queue and directory queue basically to check if your cloud object exists or not. For example, you can use file exist queue to check if basically this cloud object temps.csv exists or not. So basically we just created that object, so it gives true to that. So if you want to check the existence of any object in your cloud, you can use these functions like directory queue and file exist queue. So those are a couple of handy functions we can use. Let's see what we have. So yeah, we already saw reading from cloud objects. Basically, you can use cloud get to read expressions, cloud import to read certain PNG files, or other important where you have exported in a given format. If you want to read something, then we have copy file or copy directory, which you can read cloud objects directly to your local system. And then so this we have not discussed yet. We'll go through it. There is another, you can use URL read and URL execute basically to read stuff or cloud objects. But those will be used with the APIs. We'll see mostly, we'll discuss those more, deeply in the second part of the presentation. But these are a couple of ways or functions you use to read cloud objects from the cloud. Okay. Right. Okay. So this is also here we are briefly discussing about the delete functions or enumeration or meta information functions, which we can use basically to to delete a cloud object or do certain other operations. For example, let's see. We'll quickly go through those because there is these are just the examples, simple examples. Okay, let's see how to use delete. Basically, we create a directory called meta, and then we add certain objects, couple of objects to it. So what we're doing here is we're calling cloud put in a table, and then adding couple of objects into this meta directory. Right? Yeah. Okay, so now we can enumerate like how many objects we have. So we'll see here. So we have added 6 objects under the meta directory, and let's see how we can delete a random object. Like we can choose any object here to delete, and then we have deleted, let's say, a random choice. We use random choice to delete a random object, and then I think it has deleted object 3 from the cloud, from the meta directory. So now we have only 5 objects. Okay. Right. So this is basically a set options is basically, yeah, it's good to know. So let's see what options on a cloud object gives. So I was talking about the metadata, like, initially associated with the cloud object. So you can use options on a given cloud object to read its metadata. So you can see here, options of a cloud object gives you certain options in a given list, which is, it has basically, let's say, permissions, who can read or write to that cloud object. Then sharing list means if you want to share to your cloud object to a certain user, you will see that user in this sharing list option. And then there are a couple of other options. I think we will not go to that detail, but those are all actually explained in the reference documentation if you want to go through. But the main here is, the permissions which you can control, which you can use to control who can see your cloud object or your notebook. Okay. Right. You can use set options basically to set a permission or set certain option. For example, here I have used set options to set the permissions to public for that object. So if you use that, the permissions will be public. So if you want to create your object a public object or change your permissions, you can use that. I'll encourage you to go through that basically permissions reference page. It has lots and lots of examples how you can control the permissions of your objects. You can basically control permissions in many ways. Like, you can specifically set up permissions to use for a certain user, certain set of users also. And basically there's a lot of flexibility to use from actually. And then the last function is basically information. Information gives you if you want to look at more detail, what basically you want to know, like what type of your cloud object is, what does it contain, what is the MIME type. So all that stuff you can query using the information. For example, here is my cloud object, which is located at this path. It is of file type, and it is of type expression, and I'm the owner, and these are the other fields which does when it is created and all that stuff basically. So this is also a handy function to know like more about your cloud object. And then finally we have delete. We can use DeleteObject to delete a directory also. So once you use that, then basically you can check if the directory exists or not. So yeah, so it has deleted the directory successfully. That's why you'll see the directory queue is false. So yeah, these are certain handy functions in addition to, which you can use while to deal with your cloud objects. If you're creating a lot of cloud objects, you might want to check out certain functions.